Good morning, namaste. How's everybody doing this morning? I hope you're doing very well. Just as I am, I hope that all is well. Sing along wherever you are, and we can hear you. All is well, and I am grateful. All is well, and now it's time to let it go. All is well, and I am grateful. Life is good, and so it is. All is well, and I am grateful. All is well, and now it's time to let it go. All is well, and I am grateful. Life is good, and so it is. Life is good, and so it is. One more time around the top. All is well, and I am grateful. Let me hear you. All is well, and now it's time to let it go. All is well, and I am grateful. Life is good, and so it is. Life is good, and so it is. And so it is.
That was beautiful, Kong. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kandis. Thank you.
Just the way I like to start every day with that affirmation, life is well and all is good, and so it is. Welcome, everyone, to the Namaste Center for Spiritual Living Sunday service. We start every Sunday with a meditation, a guided meditation. And so I invite you all to take a collective deep breath with me. Just breathing in slowly through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Do this a couple of times. Feel yourself begin to relax. Close your eyes and just take another deep breath in and exhale. Let your mind come to rest and let you drift into self-forgetfulness. Feel yourself relax more deeply. Notice if there's anywhere else in your body that is tense, and just send a breath there. And so imagine it is morning and you are waking from a dream state and you feel absolutely giddy. You say, "Oh my gosh, that was a miraculous dream. I want to remember that." And so you lie there, and the images of this dream begin to drift back in. A little hazy at first, and then they become sharper into focus. You want to take it all in. You feel so alive and inspired right now. You lie there quietly, letting these feelings permeate every cell of your body. You notice there is someone coming toward you, and you feel a loving energy from them. And as they get closer, they extend their hand to you. And you feel the warmth of their good intention, and you extend your hand in return. You do not exchange words for a greeting, but you feel into this beautiful presence, this warm and loving presence. As you begin to walk down the path together, side by side, you begin to wonder. And so you ask your traveling companion, "What is it that you have for me to know this day? Why are you here?" And this presence just smiles and says, "I will show you." And for the moment, you're satisfied with that. And so you continue to walk. You notice a bend up ahead. On the path, as you round the bend, you pause and you observe the scene before you. With sheer delight, you see yourself. And you turn and look at your companion, and they say, "Look further." And so in that pause, you notice yourself. There's a smile on your face. You seem to be thoroughly enjoying what you are doing, and you feel content and at peace. This activity is satisfying to you. It's a small thing, really, and it brings you great comfort and joy. And so you continue in this place of observing and slowly notice that you are moving into this form of you in the scene effortlessly. See yourself in great detail. What are you doing? Who is there with you, if anyone? Notice the detail of the place, the sounds, and the scene. You say to yourself, "This is my happy place right now. All is well. All is good." Observing this for a few more minutes and feeling yourself enlivened and happy. Just enjoy how you feel. And now turn to your companion and you ask, is this all for me? And they reply, this has always been yours, my child. You glance back at the vision with pure delight. You feel immense love and freedom. And you turn back to your traveling companion. But they are gone from view. And a smile crosses your face. And a deep gratitude is in your heart. And now there's a nudge that it is time to go. And there is also a pause, for you feel and know that this has been real, that you can come back to this place anytime, because this is always yours, my child. So taking a deep, slow breath in and out now, each of us feeling the air on your face, the chair below you. Perhaps wiggle your toes and feet and become present to this now moment. Give thanks for this time of knowingness. And I invite you all to open your eyes. Namaste. So I hope you enjoyed the meditation today. Our theme of who are we? And more importantly, what are we meant to do in this moment? So for my share today, I want to speak to what's been going on with me this week. About a little over a week ago, I learned that my older brother has COVID and he's in the hospital. And so I immediately called my sister-in-law and left a message. And the next day I found out that from another family member that she would prefer not to hear from me. I was really confused. I didn't know that there was a rift or why this would be. I felt rejected and I was just really perplexed and hurt. And so I was speaking with my wife, and she said, she reminded me that about a year ago or so, my sister flew out and we were to go visit my brother up in Northern California. And I canceled at the last minute. I was exhausted at that time. I knew I'd have to do all the driving, and I just didn't feel that 3 days was enough time. So in that remembering, I just felt so bad. I felt bad that I caused that amount of hurt, and it wasn't intentional. And so I've been praying, and I had a practitioner session. Thank goodness for practitioners. And I gained some clarity about it. I had been judging myself as selfish, and I was being pretty harsh with myself. And what I got clarity around is that I wasn't so much selfish as I was careless. I was careless with my relationship with him. And so for that, I know where my next to do is, what I am to be and what I am to do. And rather than reach out and defend and disregard my sister-in-law's request, I am here doing my self-forgiveness work against the judgments that I'm holding. For truly, these are judgments and not the truth of who and what I am. I know that spiritual truth. And I also am praying for my brother's wholeness. I know at some point I will reach out, but right now I want and remain focused on his healing, his wholeness, and peace for his entire family and for me. And I continue to do my work, God and I together. Namaste. So thank you. Thank you, community, for allowing me to share. And right now, let us take our collective deep breath as we go into prayer, our invocation this morning. With an open heart, I acknowledge and recognize this one life, one power, one essence that is God. I know it is love, it is wholeness, it is this infinite intelligence and divine order. All that is this one life. All is well, all is good. I bless this service, the message that Spirit has for us, spoken through Rev Bobbi Becker, our beloved senior minister. I give thanks, heartfelt thanks, for the many, many people who come together each Sunday and make this service possible in our new virtual world. It truly is a blessing to be in community, to have this time together. And so I give thanks, and I let my prayer be now, and so it is. So I welcome Reverend Bobbi. So good to see you, Reverend.
Good morning. How are you, Kandis?
I'm doing
It's a good thing I was paying attention just now. It's really great to see everybody, and I'm really grateful for that share, Kandis. Oh, I hear the words of Kandis, and I just think of what our theme is today about who we are, what we are, and so I just want to honor that share of Kandis. And I'm very grateful that we get to be part of this community in a virtual sense. So with that, I'm going to actually bring Kong back up, and we're going to continue to open this service to what it's unfolding to be. So thank you.
Thank you, Bobbi, and thank you, Kandis, for sharing with us this morning and starting us off right with openness, truth, and some beautiful meditation. This is I Can Change the World by Ben Harper. Or sorry, With My Own Two Hands by Ben Harper. I can change the world with my own two hands, make a better place. With my own two hands, make a kinder place. With my own two hands, with my own two hands. With my own two hands. I can make peace on earth. With my own two hands, I can clean up the earth. Lord, with my own two hands, I can reach out to you. With my own two hands, with my own two hands. With my own two hands. With my own two hands. Go Gonna make it a brighter place with my own. Gonna make it a safer place with my own. Gonna make it the human race with my own two hands. Now I can hold you in my own two hands, and I can comfort you with my own two hands. But you got to use your own two hands. 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 With my own two hands. I have my own two hands. Gonna make it a brighter place. I'm gonna make it a safer place. I'm gonna help the human race with my own two hands. With my own two hands. With my own two hands.
Oh, that was beautiful, Kong. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you do that with your own two hands. What a gift. Good morning, Namaste. Welcome to another Super Sunday service. So glad to have you all here with us on this beautiful Sunday morning. At this time in our celebration, we speak together our Namaste mission statement. And so if you would please repeat after me or repeat with me as we say this together, the words on the screen. I honor the place in you in which the entire universe dwells. I honor the place in you, which is love, truth, light, and peace. When you are in that place in you, and I am in that place in me, we recognize that we are one. Namaste. And our individual community mission and vision statement. This is the more practical piece of what we do together. And again, I invite you to say these words along with me. I learn practical science of mind tools and practice in a loving, connective, and vibrant community to reveal my power and change my life. And then you can see the little symbols of how that process works. By coming together and individually, we work using science of mind tools to awaken. Through this awakening process, we realize. In this realization, things shift. We transform, and then we repeat the process over and over again. Our community power statements. We are a thriving, dynamic spiritual community. Oh yeah. And hashtag we are Namaste. And this stuff works. Absolutely. And to continue along with this stuff works, we continue to do our spiritual practices together. One of those is visioning. Right after service today, we'll have a visioning led by Rev Bobbi. And this will be a time for us to come together and vision together during this transitional time for what is emerging as the spiritual center of Namaste. Please join us. The Zoom link is on the website. This Thursday, we're having a celebration of life for our beloved practitioner emeritus, Joanne Bourgeois. I will be there in attendance and participating in this celebration of the life of one of the pillars of Namaste Center for Spiritual Living. If you've participated in a session with a practitioner, that you have participated in the long arm reach of Joanne Bourgeois in your life. please come and honor Joanne with us together this Thursday at 6:30 p.m. You can RSVP to Kandis Stein, and the information is also available on our website. We've been having Tuesday happy hours. The last one was on August 4th with an art class. We won't be having any additional Tuesday sessions this month, but we'll return in September as we have a lot going on each week for the rest of August. So we'll have other events that will be taking those time slots or those weeks of time slots in the month of August. But happy hour will return in September. And please remember that the third Wednesday of every month, we have the Healing Circle. This is a ministry of our practitioner, Valerie Day, and it's a wonderful ministry of healing where she brings many different sacred arts to us and teaches us how to use those to bring healing into our own lives. The next one will be on Wednesday. I can't remember the date, maybe it's the 19th, but in any case, please look on the website for the next session of the Healing Circle. And our annual meeting, can't believe it's time for that again, but every August we have our annual meeting as a spiritual center. During the annual meeting, we review the past year and we talk about plans for the new year. In addition, we'll be electing a new board member. So if you're an active member of the Namaste Center for Spiritual Living, you'll be voting on a board member during that session. So that will be held by Zoom. It'll be our first annual meeting by Zoom, so that'll be a new experience on August 27th at 7 p.m. Please join us. All are welcome. And coming in September, a membership class. If you are not currently a member of Namaste, we would love to have you join us. There are 2 classes that you take to learn about Namaste and learn about what it means to become a member. If you're interested in becoming a member and attending that class coming up in September, please email Stephanie. She's smelendez@namastecsl.org and sign up for that membership class. Come and join us in an expanded way. And also coming in this fall, practitioner training. It's a 2-year commitment. And if you have taken the 6 prerequisite classes and you are interested in taking this very deep exploration and deepening in your spiritual practices through the teachings of the practitioners, then this is for you. And please, if you're interested, email Rev Bobbi for more details. Choir rehearsal continues on Thursday nights at 6 p.m. They've been having choir rehearsals by Zoom. If you're interested in attending or participating in the choir, please email Mara Lee. That's madler@yahoo.com or Julie Bathke, jbathke@verizon.net for more information. And finally, every morning, our wonderful practitioners offer a time of prayer. If you want to get your day off right, get centered, please join our practitioners Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. You can join by Zoom or you can dial in. And all this information is available on our website, but please do join our practitioners and get your day off right. And here comes the man with the 2 gifted hands.
Thank you, Chris. The song is called What About Now? Before we get into Bobby's talk today, let's ask ourselves. Shadows fill an empty heart. His love is fading from all the things that we are, but are not same. Can we see beyond the scars and make it to the dawn? Change the colors of the sky and open up to the ways you made me feel alive, the ways I loved you, for all the things that never die, to make it through the night. Love will find you. Whoa, What about now? What about today? What if you're making me all that I was meant to be? What if our love never went away? What if it's lost behind words we could never find? Baby, before it's too late. What about now? The sun is breaking in your eyes to start a new day. This broken heart can still survive with the touch of your grace. Shadows fade into the light. I am by your side. Love will find you. What about now? What about today? What if you're making me all that I was meant to be? What if our love never went away? What if it's lost behind words we could never find? Baby, before it's too late. What about now? Now that we're here, now that we've come this far, just hold on. There's nothing to fear. I am right beside you. For all of my life, I am yours. What about now? What about today? What if you're making me all that I was meant to be? What if our love never went away? What if it's lost behind words we could never find? What about now? What about today? What if you're making me all that I was meant to be? What if our love never went away? What if it's lost behind words we could never find? Baby, before it's too late. Before it's too late. Before it's too late. Before it's too late. What about now?
Thank you for that, Kong. The what about now, I know in thinking about that particular song, is that it brings to mind the presence that exists right here in this moment. And part of what our theme of the month is, and I'd like to bring that forward for everyone to take a look at, is this month we've been talking about inclusion in action. And last week, Reverend Carol and I had this conversation about whatever I let go, lets go of me. And I say this all the time, but I'm going to remind the community, all the talks that come up, those talk titles were up some time ago, and life kind of unfolds. And then the talks that happen, the presentations that happen on Sunday happen as a result of not only what we put in intention, but also the fact that we're walking through intense transition. And so in that transition, there is that one mind that speaks, and it speaks literally as to what we're doing right here and right now as part of the community that is Namaste. As we talked about what I let go, lets go of me, today we're going to be talking about, which is vague, and I purposely left it vague there, which is we are, with really a question of who are we? And this question really isn't just about, it's about Namaste, but it's also about who we are individually and what is unfolding around us right now with respect to all the events, situations, and circumstances that continue to unfold. What's my part in it? What's my part in this community? What's the community's role in it? I'd like to read you a story that I read a few days ago, and it comes from Mark Nepo's book, The Book of Awakening, which is one of our books of the month. And it's called The Chick Being Born. When in the midst of great change, it is helpful to remember how a chick is born. From the view of the chick, it is a terrifying struggle, confined and curled in a dark shell. Half formed, the chick eats all its food and stretches to the contours of its shell. It begins to feel hungry and cramped. Eventually, the chick begins to starve and feels suffocated by the ever-shrinking space of its world. Finally, its own growth begins to crack the shell, and the world as the chick knows it is coming to an end. Its sky is falling. As the chick wiggles through the cracks, it begins to eat its shell. In that moment, growing but fragile, starving and cramped, its world breaking, the chick must feel like it's dying. Yet once everything it has relied on falls away, the chick is born. It doesn't die, but falls into the world. This lesson is profound. Transformation always involves the falling away of things we have relied on, and we are left with a feeling that the world as we know it is coming to an end, because it is. Yet the chick offers us the wisdom that the way to be born while still alive is to eat its own shell. When faced with great change in self, in relationship, in our sense of calling, we somehow must take it all in. We must take in all that has enclosed us, nurtured us, incubated us, so that when the new life is upon us, the old is within us. So who we are is the question for the day, and it really has unfolded in an experience recently with when I look at what's happening within our own community. You know, churches everywhere right now are getting simpler, asking what are they here to do? What are they here to be? That is not exclusive to churches, it's exclusive to each one of us. I'm asking myself the same question. We often identify with that which is most closest to us. And as a minister, in my role as the minister, I'm identifying for myself, what am I here to be? And I also look around at Namaste and look at what are we here as a community to be, knowing that that answer to that question isn't exclusively mine. But here we are on the precipice of releasing a building. And this building has become a lesson for Namaste and a gift to Namaste and a whole host of things. And one of the questions that has happened out there a lot is, especially in the global sense, is there's a little bit of battle out there as to what is a church. And oftentimes there's this argument that if we can't meet, then we can't be a church. And I don't know that I believe that that's true. But I do know that the last few weeks, as I'm watching us let go of our space, that there's this letting go that's happening and a making space. We've been emptying out the building, and it's probably, I'd say, at least half empty. We've released a lot of equipment and materials, and we continue to release those things in preparation to make space for what's next. And I think the metaphorical opportunity here should not be missed. For me, I was contemplating this in my spiritual practice this week, and I see us emptying out, and I look at the basement, and the basement's completely empty, by the way. It was full. And the last few months we've been doing that, and I look at the basement as the stories that we have brought to us in this building with respect to what makes us a church, what makes us a spiritual community. And in some ways, and metaphorically, up to this point, which I think will still carry with us a little bit because our story has such power, that we carry with us, what really does a building mean? What does it mean to be able to what are the stories about what that is? And that basement, as we've emptied it out, I've been really focused myself with all those that have been involved in this, including our founding minister, Kristen Hawkins, and her wife, Deborah Scanlon. Tori Sane has been involved, my wife, Janine, Nikki Freeman. There's a host of folks that have been involved in emptying out that building. And as we've been doing it, there's been some emotion in it. And there should be. Because it has meaning, because within every piece that was in that basement, there was some story or some meaning to it. Some we know, some we don't. Some we're conscious of, some we're not. The first floor. When I look at the first floor right now, it's being staged with everything that's being sold and potentially future donated. I see this as conditions in our lives, the things that we're most present to. And when I think about that, the conditions in our life that we're most present to, I think of the Ernest Holmes quote, which is, the intellect is mostly caught up in the stream of conditions of everyday living. That first floor was where we spent most of our time. And even though we had that second floor, the first floor is where we stayed. We attempted to try to move up into that second floor and with different activities, all of which were really beautiful attempts at trying to create something, but they didn't necessarily go to where we hoped they would go. So it's that the second floor to me feels like potential, but the potential on that second floor is where an expanded community moves into, where we get to move into the conscious realm of possibility, where we get to play in the realm of unformed substance. But in order to actually take unformed substance and move it into form, we must do our spiritual work and we must act. The second floor being that world of possibility. And I just look at it and it's funny, at the time it was, as we were trying to move things up there, sometimes there would be disappointment. But now when I look at it, I see the realm of possibility and what can we do? As we're emptying out, we get to reevaluate the identity that is Namaste. Believe it or not, the identity evolves anyway. But what I find myself asking is, can the identity of what we were, this identity of love and connection, be enough, or what is it we go forward with? That's what Namaste is often identified as, that loving and connective community. And we, as a community, accepted the term power, that word power, which has such expansion. And how do we step into that world of power in a way that goes beyond the ecclesiastical and the board and a few members of the community? What is my spiritual journey about as an individual? Is it what's on the outside? Is it the numbers? Is it success? Is it money? Is it the right home? Is it happiness? Which I find is an interesting thing. A lot of folks I hear want to be happy. And it's funny, even the Constitution of the United States says the only thing we're privy to is the pursuit of it. Being happiness is a much more human condition and does not stay. And that is because, and I'll reframe this with the month of including everything. Inclusion in action is, happiness isn't the only thing we include in life. Everything is included, which is the sorrow, the sadness, the grief, the joy. It's all of it. So the question that we get to ask ourselves now is, if that's my journey, then it's also the journey of the community. It's also the journey that speaks to the beloved community that is Namaste, where there's an opportunity to look at the journey that I'm having is the very journey that Namaste is happening collectively. Each one of us collectively draw and bring into this beloved community our own experience, our own beliefs, and collectively it manifests, drops into form, because what we think about, we bring about, which is absolutely true. So what I think about, what I act on, brings about the beloved community. And there's an opportunity right now to really look at, well, what does that mean? One of the things that we've been exploring in the Metaphysical Bible is a book by Richard Rohr that we're studying with respect to this idea of how to interpret the Bible. And one of the things he uses, which I really think sort of speaks to our science of mind idea of mind, soul, and body, is the three places in which that are distinct but not separate of how we create. And he uses this idea called the cosmic egg, which is how do I interpret the Bible, which is how do I also interpret my life, I would say. It has great potential to look at with respect to how I look at this entire frame in which I look at myself, which I look at the community, in which I look at the world. If you look in the slide here, there's my story, which is what I talk about, just me. And so often, and I'll say this with respect to science of mind, is so often we only look at our own story. We only look at, well, what do I want? What do I need to do right now just for me? And that's important to do. Let me just say that's very important to do. Self-care is absolutely critical. But if we stop there, if we're only living in a place of self-care, which is really oftentimes the fear that I'm not giving myself enough or getting enough, then we miss the point of engaging at the next level, which is our story, which is our communities. Now, I'm going to speak to Namaste with respect, because our story is the we are story. There's the just me, the we are, and then there's the story, which is the universal story. There is a pattern playing out. There is a pattern playing out, and you can see it all over social media. You can see it on the news. It's an us versus them. It's a concern about living somewhere in the middle, living in harmony, as if I will lose. Right before this time that we went virtual, we sat down as a community and we identified a whole host of teams in which we could serve. And the reason service is so important, because it's important to be in spiritual community, so I get that mirror of spiritual growth, so that I can see myself and others and see where I'd like to grow into, but also see what the possibilities are and support each other in that spiritual growth. As humans, we are totally relational. Everything we do is in relationship, whether it's with other people or with an event, situation, or circumstance. But oftentimes what we do is, myself included, is I'm completely unaware of the impact I have on others. I'm completely unaware of the impact I have on the planet. I think I'm just living in this little tiny place, this little body that is really not having an effect on anything but me. And sadly, that is where we live a lot. I was thinking this morning, because I know that you folks couldn't see what was happening here in my backyard, but we live in this wilderness back here, seriously, where there are birds and bugs and a whole slew of things. And I am having hummingbirds dive bomb at me. But one of the things that I've given a talk before is the Japanese beetle, or the flying cow, as my buddy Chris Schreiber and board president calls them. They fly around with an attempt to try to find food, but they're blind. Physics-wise, they should absolutely not be able to fly. But they do, and they bounce into stuff unconsciously. And one of the things that Janine and I found through this week is I just installed a rain gutter right behind me. And in that rain gutter, as soon as I installed it, there's got to be 20 of them in there, where they've accidentally flown in there and they can't get out, because they're unconscious about really what their world is, because they're blind. So they're sitting up there on their backs and they can't get up. They think they're stuck. And the only thing that's stuck is because they can't see. It's almost like living within a lie of the truth of who we are. And it happens all the time. There's a really great movie out there called The Labyrinth of Lies. And it's about post-World War II in Germany. And it's about 15 to 20 years. The setting is 15 to 20 years after World War II. The United States and its allies have come in, and they've had the Nuremberg trials, which in essence, I think 15 to 20 Nazi criminals were actually found to be guilty of any kind of war crime. But what happened right after the war is that any other Nazi that was part of, I'll just say, Auschwitz, were living right there in communities. And the community from right after the war began to forget about what happened in their country. One of the most intelligent countries in the world, one of the most educated countries in the world. And in that, we saw something happen there that you would think would not happen in one of the most educated countries in the world. 15 to 20 years after World War II, after the war crimes and the millions that were slaughtered, millions of the Jews that were slaughtered, the next generation didn't even know that Auschwitz, the death camp, even had ever existed. They had completely erased, out of guilt or fear or shame, the very story. That was something that was part of their story, something to which they could learn. They went and moved right into life, just like our flying cows. Now, why do I tell this story? I tell this story because right now, in the next iteration of Namaste, there's an opportunity. And the opportunity exists where we can create community, which is we can create the kind of community that feeds and serves us, both in the virtual world and at some point when we can meet back together and have what the love and connection that this community was founded on. It can be that sacred place that we think about. But if right now the only thing that we think about is when we get back together, and I use that as a very good lesson because right now we're where we're at, which means even in my own life, if I have this idea of when, then I'm not living in now. And I'm not looking at the opportunity of now as being here for me and here for all of us globally. What is it that we're here to experience in this? And what is it I'm here to contribute to create a world that works for everyone? It isn't just COVID, it's also Black Lives Matter. It's also a host of movements out there that are speaking. And are we listening? But at the same time, here with Namaste on Sunday mornings, as I'm so thrilled that you come here and enjoy what we present on Sunday morning to feed you, this takes work. This takes time, not both, but of quite a few people. It takes directors, it takes a practitioner, it takes a board of trustee, and it takes the minister. And the work that I do to get ready for Sunday is quite a bit. And in doing so, if all we're doing is receiving in this moment and not supporting and serving somewhere, then we're really not growing in a holistic way. If we think, well, what am I? Who am I? And what am I to do? I mean, I'm just whoever. The point is each one of us has such significant value. And if we're not living from that value, then we're not really realizing and contributing to bringing a greater peace to the world around us. One of the things that I see often out there, and I'm sure you're seeing it too, is the fact that there are patterns, and Namaste is living its own pattern. As I mentioned before, we're emptying out. Think about in your own life, emptying out, getting simple. There may be a job loss. There might be a relationship end, death of loved ones through this COVID, and just other physical ailments that strike us as humans. And I say that because it's an opportunity to consider, what do I want to do now? William Butler Yeats wrote a poem, and a lot of folks, especially I would say more on the Christian conservative side, looked at it as he was talking about the second coming of Christ. And what he was talking about, when you hear about his own evaluation, that of other poets, is, and it's called The Second Coming. And he says in the middle of that poem, he says, the best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. It is absolutely amazing and wonderful to be passionate, but we have to be mindful of where our passion is, that in that passion there is also blindness. We see in the realm of condition or effect, we see folks absolutely owning one side or another of what they believe is happening and who's to be at blame. I imagine even in the community that is Namaste, we have seen ourselves in parts of this community's story to either scapegoat a situation or a person, or create a savior out of a condition or a person. If we have a building, we finally have arrived, that the minister will save us, that the right board of trustee will protects us from fall. But the point is, if we delegate, which is what we've done globally, if we delegate our own responsibility to others, then we get served up exactly what's happening right now. And that's a necessary part of our evolution. So Yeats saying the best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity, is to make sure that we're paying attention. We're paying attention in our anger. We're paying attention in our frustration. We're paying attention in our fear. Because when we do, we can pause and allow Spirit to speak and allow us to take those steps and those risks that we need to take right here and right now from a place of love. From a place of love. And I mean divine love. I don't mean the sense of romantic love or even just familiar love, but I mean from that place in which is self-creative. That love. The beloved community is something that I came here to be part of at Namaste, to create a community in which people feel that they want to be involved and committed. Because it's truly within spiritual community that we realize our greatest growth. That's the selfish part of me. My greatest growth comes when I'm in community, not just being able to be a minister, because the reason I chose to be a minister was so that I could do this very work as my life, but also support the spiritual evolution of others. I want to show you a graphic that I think is important with respect to our own growth. There are three things that are part of community growth, and these same things are also part of my individual growth. There's an enveloping, which is when I need support or I need someone to hold me while I'm going through something difficult. It's important that we have compassion, love, and connection, and a community that contributes. As we move out of being just one that receives, there's a way in which we can be developing, which is, again, we contribute. We participate, like today, in visioning, where Spirit speaks as us and what we're here to be, where we become a pioneering effort, not only individually, but as Namaste, where we evolve into greater, or I would say, more true to the truth of who we are. We emerge. There's an emergence of, and this emergence constantly is transformed every time. And I'll say this, I'll back up to, when we empty out, we make room for that. Unless we empty out, we cannot make room for emergence because it's too heavy. And we live from vision, which is we constantly, I shouldn't say constantly, but we go through patterns of creating new visions to where we become sustainable, because the opportunity exists right now for Namaste. We're clearing out. We're about to go into a new space, but until then, we will remain virtual. To be sustainable, we must believe in possibility for ourselves and the community. We must be resilient, which is to walk through challenges. By the way, these challenges that we see around us, they don't end because we have this perfect practice of these spiritual principles. We get to walk through them in a way in which we learn from them. We can be a healing effort, a healing energy on our planet. We can be supportive outside of the walls of Namaste. And again, each level of these, there is a contribution that happens. I'm just going to quote Martin Luther King as I close this up today. The beloved community, which is also about the beloved self. We came here to be beloved, to recognize that we are the beloved. And we do that by coming together. We do that in a host of communities and families if we have that kind of family. But the community allows us that place to do so. And Martin Luther King said, the end is reconciliation. The end is redemption. And we're doing that. The end is the creation of the beloved community. It is this type of spirit and this type of love that can transform opponents into friends. Think about what we could do as a community with that kind of energy and movement. The type of love that can transform opponents into friends. The type of love that I stress here is not eros, a sort of aesthetic or romantic love, a sort of reciprocal love between personal friends. It is agape, which is understanding goodwill for all humans. And I would even extend that to all creatures. It is an overflowing love that seeks nothing in return. It is the love of God working in the lives of humans. This is the love that may well be the salvation of our civilization. I invite you today to join us in visioning after service on the Zoom link. We can't do this alone, and we cannot do it with just 10 people. If you are part of this community, this is an invitation to step forward and what you want to contribute, what you feel called to contribute. So I ask you to go within and do that. As we approach our annual meeting, we get to thank our board president, Chris Schreiber, for what she gave, heart and soul. And we get to shift and move into what's new. We get to honor her. We get to release her. And we get to invite in what's next. We get to do that for everything, including this, what has happened and where we're going virtually. Join me in prayer. I just recognize right here and right now that there is only one power and one presence, and it is called God, Spirit. It invites me in. It recognizes itself as all things. It continues to create every moment. That is what it's been called to do, and we are created in the image and likeness of that. And therefore, as I know that I'm one with it. I know that each person Namaste is, and each person of our planet and the universe, all that is in the universe, is all here with purpose and intention. So right here and right now, I open up that intention of what is consciously calling me. What is consciously calling all of us to be right now, to be the beloved for ourselves, but to remember that we're the beloved for others. That when I step in for myself and others. And when I let it go, that I'm holding up others too. And sometimes that might be I drop, so what do? I step in. And as our beloved Kandis said, because I cannot let that go without a prayer, as I get to do my own forgiveness work, and I get to do that which has been calling me. I get to be what I came here to be. So I just am so grateful and blessed to be part of this community and to be part of this movement of faith into action. So with that, I just say thank you, God. And so it is. I'm just going to bring us into that giving time of our service. I'm grateful, and I know the board is, and all of the leadership of Namaste is so grateful for those who have continued to give, because what we're giving to is that reciprocal nature of the universe. And like many communities, our giving has dropped. So right here and right now, I'm going to take the gift that is me, the gift that is what I give financially, what I give in service, because it all counts. And I'm going to take that gift, and even the gift that somehow is calling me forward, into what I came here to be part of a collective energy. And I take that gift right here. I bless that gift, knowing there is nothing too small. There's nothing too small. So as I give that gift, which is in different ways of service, if I'm giving financially, you see on the slide places in which you can give, our website or Gift Plus or whatever that might be. The time is now, because that's what we have. The time is now, because that is what we have. So I give from that place, which is all that exists, is right here and right now. And I bless this gift, the gift that all give, as this community. Namaste. And in gratitude, I let it go and I let it be. And so it is. Oh, before I do the benediction today, I want Tori and Terry to come up here with me, because these are two beautiful, beautiful souls who give of their time and treasure and talent to Namaste. And I just want to say thank you for doing that today. It's Terry's first day online. Terry, thanks for being here.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
Thank you. And Tori, who's teaching folks how to be directors so that your minister can actually deliver a service. It's so grateful. I'm so grateful for what you both do. And thank you for being here today. And for the community that's here, just know that these folks give from their heart, and it is in that gratitude they do. So I just want to say thank you again for what you do. I think I'm back. I might have frozen for just a moment. So, Tori, could you bring up our benediction? And the benediction is going to look familiar today, because this is the benediction that we as a community have been doing for some time. And I brought this today because I made a slight change to it. So I just want you to notice that change. At some point, I'm going to take what our practitioners did in a retreat, which is the meat of the week. So just notice this as we read this together, and be very intentional. As we did when we came together, be very intentional in this as we come together as a community and remember who we are. We are Namaste and we are life. So read this with me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. What is it called? That's my question. What is it called? It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is all that I am. Life is all that we are. I accept it. I am it. And I share it with all. Just the way it appears, and just the way it appears not. Thank you, life. And so it is. So we get to bring Kong back up here. Kong.
Hello. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you very much. We all needed that talk today, and thank you, Namaste. When we come together, amazing things happen. And so I'm going to ask you to take some actual direction a little bit from the lyrics here. And if you're with someone in the room, or even your cat or your dog, just take a look at that person next to you. And let's see if we can follow along with the lyrics right here. And take a look at the person next to you. All right, make sure you're looking at him. Say, I recognize that God in you. Let me hear you say it. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, God loves me and I love you too. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. Every walk of life. Every creed and color. In kinship we unite. In honor of the God in each other. Take a look at the person next to you. Say namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. In the name of love. In the name of love.
Thank you, Kong. As usual, what a beautiful gift you are to this community. I just want to thank everybody that participated today, from Kandis and her, wow, authentic, vulnerable share. It touched me so much, Kandis. I just want to express my gratitude for what you gave to the community today. Your authenticity and vulnerability off the charts, and that's where we grow. So thank you for that. Kong and his music and how beautiful and what a gift he is to this community, and it's exciting what's coming. And then with Chris Schreiber and what she's brought to this community, I'm really, really grateful to what she gives to this community and how he has given, just without even a question, heart and soul. Grateful to have her part of the service today. And Terry and Tori, thank you, and excited about what Namaste's future is. So meet us in about 5 minutes on Zoom. You can get the link on the website. You can get the link right off the comments, and just know that this community is important. And so I invite you to be part of a beautiful unfolding that continually has been part of the heritage that is Namaste. Have a beautiful week. We'll see you in all the offerings. We'll see you this Thursday at Joanne Bourgeois' memorial. We'll see you at our annual meeting. Thank you, Namaste, and have a great week.